no devices, press browse to add a device. All right, so you're looking for the browse button, which is on the top right. There is a collection of 6 buttons at the top there. Let me just move this out of the way. And browse is there, just to the right of device. So press browse, it'll immediately take you to a menu setup. They've added this new favorites thing in Live 10. I haven't used it yet, but I assume you drag and drop things there. I haven't done it yet. Let's look for a drum sound. So you can operate these 2 buttons to move down the way or back up again if you want, or you can use this control at the top. I tend to just use the buttons because it's quicker. Alright, it should automatically audition sounds for you. You can then load a preset by pressing the green button. Okay, I've just skipped down to analog here just to show you this. There are 2 green buttons on this top row now that I've selected analog. And that's because, well, actually, can anyone tell me why that is? Has anyone used push? Kira or Kelsey, have you used push at all? Alright, do you know the difference between pressing this green button and this green button? No. Alright, so this green button here will load in what's called the default version of any device. Alright, so let me just press that green button and I'll show you how it looks in live. Don't worry about that too much at the minute. We'll just get this basic stuff out of the way first. Alright, so I've loaded in a default version of analog. If I press it, it sounds like that. That's what the analog device sounds like in its default state. Okay, I'm just going to undo that, so I no longer have the default version of analog loaded. I'm going to go down to analog this time and select this green button over on the right. This time I'm selecting this preset as opposed to the default version of analog. If I just put my Q feed on again, you should be able to hear. Okay. That's auditioning presets now. Okay. Green button over on the right there. Now I've loaded in that. Alright, as opposed to the default preset. This bit's super important. Alright, so listen up. As soon as you load a preset in using push, Ableton Live goes into what's called hot swap mode. Don't need to worry too much about what that is at the minute, but what you do need to know is you've loaded a preset in, but the display at the top still shows you the menu that you've just been using to load that preset in. That's not what you want to see. You want to see device controls. In order to clear that menu now, you need to press the device button, which is there, just to the left of the browse button. Press that, and now you see device controls along the top. Okay? Like, for example, filter frequency. Filter resonance. So on and so forth. Whatever the devices you're using, you want to see the controls at the top. So press that device button as soon as you've loaded something in. Right, I'm going to undo all of that now because I want to bring in a drum instrument. So there's an undo button on push, which is just on the left here. That's too many undos for me to cope with, so I'm just going to go back to live and delete that MIDI track. I've just got 1 MIDI track in my session now. Right, okay, so I'm going to go back to browse and I'm looking for a drum preset. Drum rack's got a lot of different presets in it. I'm going to go to the core library because that's where the simplest stuff is. It's good to get started with. And I'm going to select. Alright, important point. If you wanted to stop playing things, see that button at the top right? It will go blue or white. If it's blue, it'll audition stuff. If it's white, you won't hear it. So if you want to turn it off, just hit that button. Alright, I'm loading a 909 kit here. So I've navigated to the 909 kit on push and just press that green button. Which button am I going to press next so that I can see the device controls at the top? Lovely. Okay, now then if you load a drum instrument using push, push will look like that. You've got 16 pads at the bottom left. for playing your sounds. These 16 pads here operate loop controls, which we'll look at a later date, and then these pads at the top are for your step sequencer. All right, let me just quickly record something in real time using Push. I'll do this a few different ways, and we'll talk about the differences. All right, the first thing I need to do is just to check that I've got a count in. If we go back to the main live display, this thing here, does anyone know what that is? That icon there? Kira or Kelsey, if you've used this before? Not quite. It's the metronome, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you can turn the metronome on or off in live there. To the right, that little drop-down arrow, you can set how long your count in is. Mine's on 2 bars at the minute. Incidentally, you probably never have to turn your metronome off there because you can turn it on or off in the top left of Push there. All right. If it's flashing, the metronome will be on. So I know that I've got a 2-bar count incoming, and I know that the metronome's on, so I'm just going to hit record and just do something. That'll do, right. Alright. One badly recorded clip. I did that in real time though, and in order to stop it recording and to start it looping, I had to hit that record button pretty quickly. There are a couple of things I can do to tidy that up. The first thing I can do is, while it's playing, I'll press the quantize button and you should hear it'll snap into time. That's better. There's an undo button, so I can undo that quantize. Out of time again. Quantize. Alright, just show you that in live as well. Here are my MIDI notes that I've just recorded. If I undo, they all move out of time. Press quantize again, and they snap against the grid. You can ask live to quantize for you in real time while you're recording, using something called record quantize. I'll go over to Push here, and press and hold the quantize button. And just zoom in so you can see the display a little bit better. Press and hold the quantize button. See this thing at the top here that says 116 record quantize, brackets off. Press that button there. Record quantize is now switched on. So if I go back and do that process again, it will automatically quantize it for me as I go. Right, I'll just have a little go at that now then. For quickness, I'm just going to delete this clip from here. So let's do it again. Okay, that's really quick. When you get up and running fast, fixed length. Okay, so there's a button there on the left, just above automation, called fixed length. Now, if you press and hold it, just like quantize, you can access options to do with fixed length by pressing and holding it. It's on 2 bars. And because it's switched on and illuminated, Push knows that I want to record a 2-bar MIDI clip, so it's automatically looping at the end of that 2 bars. If I switch it off and we record again, here we go. See what happened there? Because I was late, I pressed that record button after the start of the 3rd bar. It stopped recording there and it looped back round. So live will automatically quantize the start and the end of your recording loops. If you're doing it in real time, if I wanted to record a 2-bar clip, and I need to get in somewhere before the start of the 3rd bar. If I'm late, that'll be the end of the 3rd bar. But if you used fixed length, it takes all that away, because you just automatically say, right, okay, I want a 2-bar clip, and then it records a 2-bar clip for you.